Saudi Arabia and Iran have been waging proxy wars for regional dominance for decades. This rivalry has dragged the region into chaos and ignited Sunni-Shia conflict across the Middle East. Animosity between the two countries have been sharpened by a series of events, from the war in Syria and Yemen to the trial of strength in Iraq and Lebanon. But were Iran and Saudi Arabia always enemies? Before 1979, Iran and Saudi Arabia shared good diplomatic ties, as both countries were governed by Western-backed monarchs. This is the Shah of Iran, Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, visiting Saudi Arabia in 1978. Months later, everything changed. The root of the conflict lies in the 1979 Iranian Revolution, which saw the pro-Western monarch Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi toppled and replaced by Ayatollah Khomeini.
There was a triumphant and tumultuous welcome in Tehran today by more than 1 million Iranians for the Ayatollah Khomeini, returning home from 15 years of exile.
The return of Khomeini marked a turning point in the Saudi-Iranian relationship. The Saudi regime, the self-proclaimed leader of the Sunni world, was alarmed by the presence of an Islamic revolution in the region. Khomeini openly opposed the idea of a monarchy as un-Islamic, drawing parallels between the Saudi monarch and the Shah of Iran. He was also hostile towards Western-backed governments, particularly those backed by the US, which is an important ally for the Saudis. In 1980, a CIA report revealed that Iran was attempting to export the Islamic revolution to neighboring countries. The fear of the spread of the Iranian revolution triggered a series of events. In Qatif, home to Saudi Arabia's Shia majority, protesters took to the streets calling for reform while raising pictures of Khomeini. The protest led to a violent crackdown by security forces, killing at least 20 people and arresting hundreds. The GCC was created as an alliance between 6 Gulf monarchies. It was a unified regional political and security front against the perceived Iranian threat. 2 years into the Iran-Iraq war, Saudi Arabia decided to provide military and financial support to Saddam Hussein, in a move that further escalated tensions between Tehran and Riyadh. The Iraqi president had invaded Iran over fears the country's Shia majority would be influenced by Khomeini's revolution. Mecca became a site of unprecedented violence when Iranian pilgrims held anti-US demonstrations. This led to clashes with Saudi security forces, resulting in a stampede that killed at least 400 people. Following the events in Mecca, Saudi Arabia suspended its relations with Iran for 3 years. Over the next few decades, relations between the two countries had its share of ups and downs. But the 2011 Arab Spring changed the geopolitical dynamics, with a fight for dominance in the Middle East reaching a new level. During the Arab Spring, both countries supported opposing sides in regional conflicts. Iran openly spoke in support of the revolutions in Tunisia, Egypt and Bahrain, countries that were run by Sunni dictators who shared favorable relations with Saudis. The two powerhouses were also on opposing sides when the revolution reached Syria. But this time, Saudi Arabia backed the opposition and Iran allied with the regime. Syria's Bashar al-Assad was always an important ally for Iran. He's from a minority Shia sect and rules over a majority Sunni state. So Iran wants to keep the Syrian regime in power at all costs. Since 2011, it has been supporting the Syrian regime with weapons, ground troops and training. Saudi Arabia, on the other hand, continues to back the rebels and military defectors. 7 years later, the proxy war has had devastating effects on civilians, with 6 million Syrians displaced, 5 million refugees and more than 500,000 killed. Saudi Arabia's attempt to curb Iran's influence in Syria has failed so far, as the regime still controls most of the country. Then there is Yemen, where the Saudi-led coalition is engaged in a bitter fight against Iranian-backed Houthi rebels, who are Shias. This has drawn the country towards the world's largest humanitarian crisis. Tens of thousands of people have been killed since the start of the conflict, and more than 22 million Yemenis are in need of humanitarian assistance. While Iran supplies the Houthi rebels with weapons, Saudi Arabia has intervened direct with military action. They have launched more than 18,000 airstrikes and an imposed blockade, stopping critical aid from getting into the north of the country. While the Cold War between Iran and Saudi Arabia has adopted its most aggressive stance in Yemen, other countries have not been spared. In Iraq, Lebanon and Bahrain, the countries are playing a critical role by supporting governments and political players along sectarian lines. Although Iran and Saudi Arabia have never engaged in a direct confrontation, their proxy battle in the Middle East continues to escalate, further dividing the region. But can it be stopped?